Hello. Cathar Love 114. The world is changing. So am I. So are you. My God, how it's changing. If I cast my eye back to when I was a child, growing up, Catholic school, the full bit, altar boy, omnis verbiscum et cum spiritu tuo. I even remember a little bit of my Latin. Confidia Deo omnipotenti Deo da 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 da. I've forgotten the Confidia, the Catholic confession in Latin. Knew it all. No Latin anymore. I remember going to a mass with the French Canadian Army, and there was a French doctor, a French Canadian priest, and he gave the mass. It was in Latin at that time. Then he gave the sermon both in English and in French, because it was the Vendeur, the Royal 22nd Canadian regiment that I went to. I was over there at the invitation of a couple of French Canadian nurses who picked us up, took us from the Australian battalion over there. We went to Mass, or I did. My friend Adrian, he was a pagan, and he didn't go to Mass. He didn't go. Mind you, I think it was the only Mass I went to in Korea. But after that, we had a wonderful, wonderful breakfast. So here I am, heretic, Cathar, long gone, Catholicism long gone. My God, have I changed? And yeah, so I mean, just regarding the religion. When I went to school, if you were invited to a wedding or a funeral or a baptism or whatever, but it was by the Anglicans or the Presbyterians or the Methodists or Jewish, or well, there's no Jews or Muslims in my little hometown in North Queensland, but that was a sin. That was a sin. You couldn't go to a wedding. You can go to the wedding after. There's a reception, but you couldn't go to the actual service. Oh no, that was some other faith. So religion was very divisive. It was, us and them. And then there was the Catholic school and the public school, and they were always fighting. If one ate meat on a Friday, that was a mortal sin. A mortal sin meant if you died in a state of a mortal sin, you went to hell for the whole of eternity. I think it was even at that time, if you weren't a Catholic, you'd also go to hell. Oh my gosh. Now it wasn't so much people were religion, it wasn't so much they taught you about love, or even the love of God, or love of anybody. It was more do the right thing, not because of the love of God, but because not for the love of Christ, but for the fear of the devil and what he'd do to you if he got hold of you and you went down to hell. So it was this fear of hell that was the driving force behind religion, and not just the Catholics. Of course, this is still goes on and goes on today. With Islam and Judaism. The devil is a very, very important thing. What will happen to you if you die and you go to hell? My God. So there was this controlling fear. So and the nuns, of course, in those days up there, they wore I don't know how many layers of clothing, and this, I was born in the tropics, and it was very hot. In summer, the bitumen, the road, the road used to boil, it would bubble from the heat, and the nuns would be there wearing their black habits and stole and so forth, their Catholic burqa. Ah, my God, how things have changed. So I was also a part when virtually people were buying houses, buying churches for houses, because in Australia virtually no one was going to church. Religion was just disappearing. Thank goodness, and it was great. It was a good time, and churches were all emptying and being sold and turned into big houses and apartments. And then what happened? We started having all this migration, and suddenly we had migrants coming from Korea and from the islands, and of course all these people are good Christians, and we had people from other countries, very Muslims and so forth, and suddenly we got religion again, and the problems that come with religion were back into us again. Oh my God. I have the feeling, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not against anyone being religious or not religious. I don't care what people are. To me, everything is up to the individual. It's up to you. It's up to me. Any changes that come into our lives, I just say, I'm just from a Cathar point of view, we take personal responsibility. We don't need a priest or imam or a mullah or someone else to tell us what to do. We know what is best for us. That doesn't mean to say we shouldn't be listening to anybody, and in fact listen to everybody, but come to an intelligent conclusion and move on from there, and also be prepared to change your mind as you gain more knowledge and insight and more life experience, which is, after all, I think, more or less common sense. But the thing is that one can talk, because you have this life experience and you have these beliefs. Okay, that's fine, we can chat about them. But if you're a religious, and especially if you're a religious fundamentalism, what can I say to a Jew or to someone who belongs to Islam or a fundamentalist Christian, like on the streets? And you can't get a sensible answer out of them, because if you're against them, you're a demon, or talk about guides or this is all the work of the devil. So it's like talking to children. But that's the way it is. And so, but I don't like religious organisations. But I'm not against anyone's religious. That's the way they are. But the thing to me is that virtually everybody who is religious is in the religion they were born into. It's an accident of birth, and that's religion they stay with. So they don't really have much. If someone's changed the religion, they've gone from being a Jew to becoming a Muslim, or from a Muslim to become a Christian, or Christian to become a Muslim, or from that to become a skeptic or an atheist, I go, oh, yeah, I like to talk to you, because for whatever reason you've actually thought about it and gone to the trouble and gone with your change of beliefs, and you've moved in that direction. Doesn't matter what it is, but it means that you've done something about it. So it's the divisiveness of religions that when I was a kid, remembering back there, and people really had it was a big thing. I mean, if you were a Catholic, well, there's certain stores in Sydney that you wouldn't go to, because there's no way you get a job as a Catholic, and you had to also state your religion. Other stores, if you're a Catholic, very likely you got a job there. There was these things, and not only that, in the army, if you were a Mason or you're a good Catholic, these gave you to certain people in the army that will give you a leg up or a step up if you belong to these organisations. So thankfully, much of that is gone. But we're stuck with Australia becoming a much more religion. But the religion is not. It's not an Australian thing. It's been brought in by our migrants, and it's not for the better, I can tell you. But we are changing. Religion is changing. There was certainly no women rabbis when I was young, and now women and Jewish women are taken upon themselves in the States, and they're now rabbis. There's a Buddhist nun in Korea. She started her own Buddhist sect for women. Men can join, but they're equal, whereas women are very second class within the Buddhist religion. Catholicism, my God, that's changed. That's had major changes. Even apologies from Pope John the 23rd, and also there was an apology last year where the Bishop of Pamiers was instructed to apologise to those who are Cathars, or those who still have ties with Catharism, and apologising to them for the massacres that the Catholic Church put upon them. Certainly we have no Inquisition anymore, thanks to Napoleon, who got rid of that as he conquered each country in Europe. One thing he did was he got rid of the Inquisition, right until he got into Rome, and also he got rid of the Inquisition there. And down below in the basement, they still had their torture chamber, and I believe the old guard, the French guard, when they went downstairs, they were quite shocked, even though they were old soldiers. We can't stop change. Change is everywhere, and in fact, if there's anything constant in life, it is change. One thing that is sad about change, and it's not the people, it's the institutions. When I was young, we looked up to anybody who was a lawyer, a priest, a minister, a rabbi, a doctor, politician. Now, we just don't. We've lost trust. We've lost trust in the clergy, and it doesn't matter which one. In Australia we've had court cases over Anglican, Salvation Army, Jewish, Boy Scouts, Catholic. About pedophilia, how they've really given children a really hard time, people in authority. We've had books about the Catholic institutions in Ireland. Really, the books make you cry. So, I think that's one of the saddest things. I think in Australia, about the only thing that still has the average person's respect is the armed forces. And because we haven't had our me lies. A lot of people have lost respect for the military in the United States because of Guantanamo, the prisons in Iraq. Not only that, but what's happened to the prisoners. The United States, unfortunately, and I think it's sad, but after the First World War, there were American soldiers sent to fight the Bolsheviks, and many were captured, and they were literally, they died in concentration camps, and they were left. And Russia tried to blackmail the United States, but they wouldn't be blackmailed, and those servicemen were left. And this happened again during the Vietnam War. They know certainly 55, and they've even got air photographs of soldiers who are in camps, and they've got, you can see USA put there, and or their number of pilots that were shot down. And there's little things like this which have happened, but the Australian military forces have, by and large, kept away from anything like that. So what I'm trying to say is, we need to trust, and the one thing I do have trust in is the ordinary person. I'd say, if anything, the silent majority, because there seems to be this group of people, maybe they don't protest too much, but when it comes down to the crunch, usually it's the silent majority who measure up, and provided there's no cheating, these people usually, these people will come and they'll usually save the day, save the nation. Even if sometimes there's a temporary relapse. We have to trust. It's critical. If we lose our trust in each other, what have we got? Really, nothing. And to trust, one has to, as Shirley MacLaine's book said, go out on a limb. A good title. Because to get another's trust, we really have to put ourselves, we have to put ourselves out there first, and people say, oh, if you do that, the person, oh, he's opened up to me in confidence. Because of that, you'll trust this other person. So the trust has to come from me to you. I can't expect you to trust me if I don't trust you in the first place. So the whole essence of trust, if you like, it's from me. I have to be trusting. If I'm not trusting, then I can't expect to be trusted by anyone else. To trust someone else also means we have to retain a bit of our innocence. Now, innocence is not a word you hear bandied around these days. No, who wants to be innocent? We want to be smart. We want to get on, we want to be on top of the other person, on top of the job. It's children who are naive and innocent. But that's the thing, that's what we love about children. That's probably the sweetest thing about them, that they are naive. It's like they're babies and puppy dogs. When they see you, they're so happy to see you. They've got this innocence, and they're naive, but they trust, and they're trusting you. So in many ways, children and dogs can teach us a lot. So if we've lost trust, we have no trust in anybody else, really, it's a pretty miserable life. You might be rich, you might be poor, it doesn't matter. The thing is, if you have lost your trust in other human beings, you've got a very miserable world that you're living in. So it's essential that we trust. And we have lots. From when I was a young fellow, there was this trust, but it's the organisations themselves who have squandered that trust. We've trusted them. It is them, the banks, the corporations, the doctors, the health system, the drug companies, all these people, they have let us down. But we have to keep trust. Okay, we know what they're like. Okay, we're smart enough now. But we still have to trust each other. Now, let's not be stupid. There are certain people who proved that they can't be trusted and they can't be trustworthy. Okay, put them to the side. Keep away from them. Don't have as little to do with them as you possibly can. But we need to have that group of people around us that we can trust. This is not just Catharism. Catharism is about goodness and unconditional love, non-judgmental love. Well, there's no way you can have that if you don't have trust. So trust is a very important ingredient in today's and any society. So we are changing. The world is changing. We can't prevent change, but I think we have to be very, very careful that as much as we do change, we don't lose a sense of trust, and we don't lose our sense of trust that for all the low life and the crooks and really some terrible people who do some terrible things that still exist in the world, most people in most societies have this inner goodness and will treat you as you treat them. So I think it's so important that we think about a simple thing like trust, because it's so important for our society and for us just to get on with each other. With Catharism, it's an important part of that. How can one love without trust? How can one love unconditionally without trust? Impossible. So trust is such an important ingredient in our life. Bye for now. Talk again.